Yo, what's up? What's up? Boom, back at it. HOvid 1984 show. How y'all feeling? Hopefully you're feeling good. Show is all about good health, mental well-being, physical well-being, spiritual well-being. All right. Sometimes a lot of times you got to move thyself. When that situation happens, you better move thyself. You know what I'm saying? Um, be prepared for the consequences. That's the actual factual. So, as y'all may know, the HOvid 1984 show is under attack. We are being censored. Yeah, I believe it's because, um, there's not so much what we've been saying here, but how we've been saying it. You know, it's a mixture. It is a mixture. Um, but really, I just want to say, on that is if you're not thinking for yourself, you're looking dumb as hell. If you're out here in the streets messing around with people, not thinking for yourself, you're dumb as hell. You're looking dumb as hell. So let's uh let's try to focus on what the HOvid 1984 show is really all about, right? And that's bringing awareness to the world about the unintended consequences of lockdowns, unintended consequences of socialism, the unintended consequences of communism, the unintended consequences of killing capitalism. Because I think people thinking the grass is greener on the other side. Maybe the grass is green right here, man. The grass is green right here. And if it ain't green, start watering that grass. Get the hose out, start watering. All right, boom. So you know what? Let me get right to it here. Let's share my screen. Because I am being censored. A lot of people are these days. Saying that if you're not pushing the World Health Organization narrative, that you're somehow a danger. And I think that, well, it is everybody's right to adhere to any particular guidelines that there is some danger involved in having those guidelines be dictated by some global entity that is so detached from any sort of local politics and the people's ability to have real influence that it starts to become somewhat of a dictate because of the undemocratic, unrepresentative nature of global bureaucracy. So, the folks who do the censoring of the HOvid 1984 show should not have any credibility when it comes to talking about democracy, because by forcing people to push only the World Health Organization standards, they are essentially taking away the power from local governments, taking away the power from the smallest government, that being the individual, to make an assessment of what's right and wrong. So, it's just not a free exchange of an ideas. It's not a free exchange of ideas. That's what the socialist commies need to come to terms with. Is when you start putting restrictions in place on ideas, restrictions in place on how people use their property, you're going to see detriment to the market. You're going to see a detriment to people's creativity, and the world produces because people are free. That's why the world produces. It doesn't produce because necessarily the people even need to, because people have the capacity to produce less than they even need. All right, man. So let's get up into this. Let's get up into this HOvid 1984 business. They're censoring me. I'm a bit concerned, and I feel like I have some right to be concerned here, because on the same day that I get censored, right, there's this extensive report that drops from some losers, uh, claiming that I'm part of some sort of far right network. And there's some implications that come with being labeled far right, militia, conspiracy theorist, um, extremist. That's what they're labeling me as a part of this group. And it's just concerning when my ability, the platform, Facebook, and YouTube censoring as well, um, that I'm attacked and don't, and at the same time, I'm also given less opportunity to defend myself, having these platforms either completely taken away or censored. So I can't totally defend myself by just speaking freely. I wish there was a coincidence, but it just seems like, wow, that's a really powerful attack. So you hit them, you put the slanderous information out there, and then you hinder your opponent's ability to defend themselves in the public sphere. That's cool. But again, this is just another example of the socialist commies, control freaks trying to limit, trying to put restrictions, and they're gonna do it in the sphere of ideas, and it just suffocates ideas, and nothing comes of it. I thought the article or this report that came out was really whack. It seemed very lamely put together, and I'm trying to speak objectively. Like, they cited the people who cited, who did the report, cited so many Facebook posts in the report, in the article. There was repeatedly citing people's rights Facebook posts, but then that day they all got taken down. So there's really no credibility to the citing. You know what I'm saying? It looks very hastily done, very poorly put together. If cherry picked all types of information. And here's what I will respond to. One remark: it says people's rights really looks out into the world and views anyone who agrees with them as being righteous and anyone who doesn't agree with them as wicked. As a member of the People's Rights Group, I don't look at people who agree with me as being righteous. I don't believe that people's worldviews is what makes them righteous. I believe it's their actions that makes them righteous. So what your views are really are of little bearing on how I view you as a person. It goes on to say, and anyone who doesn't agree with them is wicked. Well, again, even if you don't agree with me, I don't judge you off what you think. Now, if you're out here pushing the mark of the beast, and you're out here pushing for people's rights to be taken away, then yeah, I consider those things to be wicked. So, boo on the article, boo on the censoring. It's all good though, because I know how to move thyself. That's what one has to do in order to be effective in any sort of combat situation. So the HOvid 1984 show, we're just bringing the news here. A lot going on. What was the good news here? Had to holler on this one, right? The good news: decreased influenza activity during the COVID-19 pandemic. That's in the United States, Australia, Chile, and South Africa. This is CDC.gov. Decreased influenza. Oh, what? Well, what are we talking about here? So, following widespread adoption of community mitigation measures to reduce transmission of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused COVID-19. The percentage of U.S. respiratory specimens submitted for influenza testing that tested positive decreased from 20% to 2.3% and has remained at historically low interseasonal levels. So the flu is almost entirely gotten rid of. Man, the good thing for we had those lockdowns, man. You know what I'm saying? Because that's obviously what's going on here. Obviously, the coronavirus, it's still spreading at a crazy pace. It's just that much more contagious than the regular flu. The regular flu couldn't maintain its life. But we got this graph here, and it shows us. This is Australia, right here, 14-day mandatory quarantine for travelers. Then right here, stay at home, recommended, mass gatherings banned. But when you look at that, the flu is already totally baselined at the bottom. We can go right here, and it says road checks in Santiago. This is in Chile. Oh, that sounds like a great place to live. Additional area lockdowns. But the whole time, the flu was already at the bottom. So I think this is what I think happened. I think the flu it knew that it just wasn't going to be able to compete with the coronavirus this year. The coronavirus was in a league of its own this year, and the flu just kind of bitched out. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. Because you can look at the graphs, the flu never even showed up this year. It's not that it's at a lowest historic levels ever, so decreasing in some places 95%, and the doctors are like, we had nothing to see. Come on, man. The flu just didn't show up. The flu bitched out. It knew that the coronavirus had it handled, and it didn't want no beef. The flu didn't want no beef with coronavirus, so it didn't even show up this year. So, I'm starting. They're going to tell us it's the lockdowns, though. They're going to say it's the lockdowns from the COVID that got you guys to not be spreading the flu, right? This is the HOvid 1984. Now remember, this is how it works. They're going to tell us that. And that's why lockdown is okay. Because just the other day, they were telling us that, in fact, lockdown was causing a doubling of global poverty. They were telling us that lockdown was causing a doubling of child malnutrition around the world. Right here, I got it up on the screen. I'm so confused. WHO says lockdown backflip reports are wrong. So they told us the other day that that's what it was. It was causing poverty and famine. That's what the WHO told us. And then they came out and they told us, oh, well, actually, we're not saying to not use lockdowns. We're saying people need to just look at their specific situations. That's what she says. It is not a backflip. It is not a change in advice. What it is a bit of misreporting that has gone on the weekend. Oh, so it was misreporting that Dr. David Nabarro said that lockdowns were having a toxic effect on society. Saying it was making the poor people poor. His exact words. And now they're going to come out and say, "Oh, that's a misreporting." See, they got to. It's back and forth all the time. It's back and forth all the time, and so you got to be able to make up your mind for your own to some degree. You know, to some degree, you have to be able to make up on your mind in the world. Listening to me probably is not going to help you do that because I'll just make you more confused. But you know what? There's one thing I can say that we got to always be thinking for ourselves. This is exactly what he said. Look what's happened to smallholder farmers all over the world. Look what's happening to poverty levels. It seems that we will have a doubling of world poverty by next year. We may well have at least a doubling of child malnutrition. That's what the dude, Dr. Nabarro, said last week. And then they came back this week and said, nah, nah, nah. And a few months ago it was don't wear the mask, then do wear the mask. Man, we're just like little puppets. The HOvid, man. Doing whatever they want, tricking for them. And it ain't got to be like that. If we think for ourselves, you know, and use the rights that we have in order to justly influence the world around us to stop violating people's rights. Okay, that's what needs to happen. People just need to stop violating people's rights. Let me keep this HOvid show going, man, because I don't want to get bored here. You know, so they tell us lockdowns, there's doubling poverty, doubling malnutrition. What when you get famine and poverty going, you know what happens? What people do for food? Anything. People will do anything for food. This is where we see wars breaking out. So you see lockdown is it's basically going to be causing wars to break out around the world. Lockdown. You know, is there another way? This guy says Wales to get into national lockdown for 2 weeks. That's happening right now. This is still happening. A 2-week lockdown. Even if everybody got the coronavirus, wouldn't it go through the population within 2 weeks, probably, of how contagious it is? I mean, it's hyper contagious, apparently. The flu bitched out. It didn't even want to show up this year because it knew how gangster the coronavirus is. And this guy, the first minister of Wales, says we're going to go into a 2-week national coronavirus lockdown. 2 weeks. WHO just told us the other day that lockdown was causing poverty and malnutrition and driving people crazy. They told us that. Is the situation in Wales really so dire that it's time to start closing pubs, restaurants, and again, the non-essential shops? Stop it with the non-essential shop stuff, guys. Man, that is so lame to call people non-essential. Listen to that word. Let that word resonate, man. That's wrong. I mean, come on. You want to talk about hate speech? You tell somebody they're non-essential? You know, they tell you you're non-essential. Okay? Three sentences later, they're telling you this is the moment to come together and to play our part in a common endeavor to do everything we can together to protect the NHS and to save lives. Well, it sounds like everybody's pretty gosh darn essential to me, Mr. Drakeford. I'm sorry, broski. You're causing pain. According to the WHO, you are contributing to the increased global poverty and malnutrition of children by continuing with this type of response. Which is, you know, a violation of people's rights. To say that it's heavy-handed is to say that's putting it lightly. You guys got to get up off the crack pipe, man. I'm telling you. Oh, let's see what else we got on the HOvid show for you today. This is okay. Speaking of crack pipe, this is what I'm saying. You look like People are it's crackhead-like behavior. What I'm gonna talk about now, okay? But it's the way that every uh, centrally planned government works. You know, it's the way whenever the government starts to take over things, any type of communism, this is how it starts to work. You get this micromanagement. Here we go. Australia state by state coronavirus lockdown rules and restrictions explained. We got the state by state. So here we go. How many people can I have over at my house? Well, in South Wales, there's no limit. Right? In Queensland, you could have 30. In Tasmania, you could have 20. Western Australia, there's no limit. But in Northern Territory, you must have 1.5 meters between you. How many people can gather outside? Can I visit someone in an aged care facility? And every different state in Australia has these different guidelines. And it's not like these states are coming up with them on their own, as if they're being sovereign. These things are being dictated from some, federal agencies. And let's see another one here. UK went back into lockdown. This is the crackhead-like behavior when you start to see them trying to command and control everything. And that's what they want. They're control freaks. That's what they want. In England, very high. Household mixing is banned. All right. Level 1, gathering of more than 6 people banned. That's medium, level medium. Jeez, that's 38 million people right now. Gatherings of more than 6 people banned. Oh, you know, this is why they're gonna censor Mario, because they're gonna say, "Oh, dude, you're saying that's a bad idea. You're going against WHO guidelines." Is that WHO guidelines? I mean, I don't know. They just told us the lockdown was causing depression and folks to be suicidal. That's from their report. And now, millions of people are headed back into lockdown. Should I not be concerned? Is there not a contradiction here? Is this really what we're going to censor folks over? That's okay. Move thyself. Level 2, high. This is estimated 16 million people in the UK right now. People must not meet with anybody outside their household or support bubble. They got support bubbles. Wow. Wow. Fruit Loop. That is so Fruit Loop. In any indoor setting, whether at home or in a public place, pubs and restaurants to shut at 10 p.m. This ain't going nowhere, man. This ain't like, there's not, it's lockdown. The Pandora's box has been opened up, man, and these statists are going to use this new power to take over the freaking planet, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a power grab right now, is what we're seeing. We're seeing the dissolving of sovereignty over the countries. This is all being dictated from global bureaucracy, and as we see the sovereignty of the countries melt into that global bureaucracy, there will be other people trying to grab the eat off the carcass. I mean, that's wild to me that it's we're this, that I am part of one of the most, no, not one of the most sophisticated, most advanced species on the planet by far, and we're sitting here thinking that lockdown is a reasonable word to be used in how governments deal with the citizenry. Like if you're a politician and you use the word lockdown in how you're dealing with folks, wow, you should have been a warden. And you got something coming to you if you think that the world that you're creating is going to be able to exist in lockdown, because lockdown is not conducive to producing a high quality of life, even for those who aren't in lockdown. Because really, once it's out the bag, man, it comes after everybody. You think you can control that beast? It's not happening. Let's see. Let's see. But you know what? So they're locking them down over there in the UK, unless your film and TV production can't continue. That's what they're saying right here on the Deadline.com. Film and TV production can continue in Wales. The guy who was just telling us, right? The guy who was just telling us that we needed to sacrifice everything, was the world was going to come to an end, and that's his opinion. He's entitled to that opinion. HOvid. He gave these guys a pass. These two young chaps, they get a pass because they work for the TV and the film industry. Wales has said film and TV shoots will be allowed to continue despite the nation going into a temporary lockdown to arrest a rise in coronavirus. Oh yeah. So all the celebrities get to go out and hang and shoot movies, and I wonder if these shows will have any propaganda in them. I wonder what the shows will be about. I wonder if the people in the shows are going to be wearing masks. Welsh told the citizens stay home, except for very limited purposes such as exercise. But if you're TV and film, you know what? It's even better because now there's nobody on the streets. You get those good shots. Give me a break, man. This guy's getting what kind of kickback this guy getting to let the TV film industry. That's what I'm saying. How do you talk out of both sides of your neck like that, man? How do you tell people that like it's the end if they don't go and lock themselves inside, and then you go, oh, and you're non-essential, for mostly everything. And if you work at a pub or you work at a restaurant or babysitting, schools, non-essential. But then you can say, oh, but the guys making the propaganda, they're essential. Of course they're essential because they're making the propaganda. That's the problem with you guys up in the bars and in the pubs and all that, man. You guys are not working. You need to move thyself. You need a career change, okay? You want to be essential. You need to go apply for some extra in a new propaganda piece. We'll talk about propaganda piece on the HOvid 1984 show. You know what I'm saying? Hey, to each their own, man. To each their own. Legislative flu shot challenge. Oh, yeah. I won't even read it. It's about some Nevada senators challenging everybody to be like them and go get a shot. Oh, man. Who do these people work for, man? It seems like they're just salespeople for the pharmaceutical industry at this point. And that's the problem. Is that I'm not saying necessarily. I'd have to talk to you on a individual basis about what that particular product, but that all the pharmaceuticals are bad. But when you got the government, pulling down all of the economic barriers so that the pharmaceutical industry could have a free for all, the the product gets tainted because of the madness that ensues. The people who are pushing for these pharmaceutical industries to have a more prominent position in our life, the people in the public, instead of doing the HOvid dance and doing whatever they say for the best for their pocketbooks, they should say, no, we need to hold them accountable, even more so that the product is validated instead of mandated. The product should be validated, not mandated. It's not just me who I was happy to hear that the flu didn't show up this year. I'm happy to hear that. Flu bitched out, down 95% in a lot of places. And then they say lockdown's bad, and then they say lockdown's okay. He just looks at the situation. Well, right here, global markets decline on COVID lockdown fears. It was published yesterday. Folks know, man. Folks know what's happening. The lockdown is in the air. That tool is out, and the WHO can, they brought it out, and then they try to put it back in, and then they try to, say it's okay to have it out. I don't understand how they have that much credibility, honestly. I should be being censored based off of, their recommendations. YouTube has the right to make these types of censorings, I guess. Facebook has the right to make these types of censorings, I guess, as a public company or as a private company. Maybe, I don't know. That needs to be looked at. That's being looked at. We'll see. Let's see here. HOvid 1984 show, baby. We're in the building. We're bringing it all, man. We're bringing it all. Oh, this one is too. Why is the WHO? Why are they ones setting the standards? That's the global bureaucracy. People don't even get to vote in that. How is that democratic? How does that represent? How is that a democratic representation? I don't see it as one. Why does the WHO get to say so? We don't even get to vote for the people who are over there. So how are they the best representatives of the people? Can anybody tell me that? I don't think that they can be. I think the best representatives of the people are going to be ones that are voted for by the people. And we're not voting for folks up at the WHO. I'm not saying that it would be that we should start. I don't think that's the business either. But check this out. Oh, man. HOvid. This is so HOvid right here. HOvid 1984, the HOrona virus. This is it right here. Juarez to fine and arrest people who refuse to wear face masks in public. Juarez to fine and arrest people who refuse to wear face masks in public. And why? 175,000 free face masks highlight the response by the state of Chihuahua to the latest spike in the COVID-19 cases. All right. So if you're in Juarez, watch out, man. You gotta have a mask because they're gonna arrest you. And then you know what happens when they arrest you? This is wild. So they arrest you and they put you in jail, and then this is what it says. We are manufacturing a large number of face masks, 175,000 at state prisons. Wow. So they're giving out 175,000 masks, forcing them onto you. And if you don't take it, then you have to go to the prison where you end up making the mask. HOvid 1984. It's happening, folks. This is borderreport.com. Come on, man. Think about that. If you don't wear a mask, you get taken to jail. And in jail, you're made to make the mask. Man. Mask of the Beast. Is it? Is it saving people's lives? I mean, it, and if it is saving people's lives, is it getting a bad name because of how it's being presented? Like people getting arrested for not having it. Isn't that going to create resentment? Even if it is the right thing to do, isn't it going to create resentment within the people of society? I mean, maybe that's what not having the HOvid has caused in me. But it's I tend to think that people make the right decisions in life, make the best decisions in life most of the time. I'm okay, most of the time. We all have our slip ups, but I think most of the time people make the right decision, and they don't have it. Things don't have to be forced onto them, and that there is an unintended consequences of mandates. It causes a resentment in society, and if you're really pushing what's right and you push it the wrong way, you could end up hurting your cause, and that's what I'm asking folks who have the HOvid to really think about. Are you hurting your cause with all this force? With all this force? Are you hurting your cause with all of this force? Are you? Are you hurting your cause by throwing people into prison for not wearing a mask and making them make the masks inside of the prisons? Who's making money off these masks? Gosh, I'd like to see how much money was made off of masks this year. I imagine. Some people are upset though, man. Some people ain't having it, and I'm not an advocate of violence. I'm not. I am an advocate of being an activist and getting out and saying what's on your mind, though. Um, and being respectful of other people's rights. Use, claim, defend your rights, and be respectful of others all at the same time. That's what makes a good person, I believe. And I believe that that's what how our Creator wants us to live, to be the best representation of life, is to be maintaining our life and respecting others. That's called being a good person. So these folks over here, leads anti-lockdown protest, police officer punched. Oh, 200 people showed up, took part in the protest in Millennium Square on Sunday, including anti-vaccination groups and far-right activists. I know. See, I'm not even going to believe that anytime I hear it, knowing that I'm not a far-right activist. To be labeled that by some kook that I've never met. Now I see other people call it. I'm like, whatever, man. Who knows? You guys just throwing that label around. That's what I'm saying, man. The people, boy, that cry wolf. You lose all your credibility. Trouble flared when organizers refused to accept fixed penalty notices. They were saying you gotta stand away from each other. The organizers refused to ensure any social distancing was complied with, and as such, officers attempted to issue fixed penalty notices to 3 individuals who refused to give details, and as a result were arrested under public health legislation. Did they not say law? Because it's not a law there too? Are they doing the same thing out there in Leeds where it's just some bureaucrat or just some person not even voted for, somebody who is the worst representation of the people since they are not voted for? They don't hold any type of, there's no mechanism to hold them accountable, no voting mechanism to hold them accountable, working up at the health districts. That's why they're the worst. That's why the people who are constantly championing democracy, they should be just as upset as us over here at the HOvid 1984 show that bureaucracies are being used to dictate public actions, public behavior. The people who are championing democracy should be upset that bureaucracies are being used to push public health mandates and regulate the public's behavior. Because that is a kick in the face to the idea that the people should participate in the political process. When you're putting bureaucracies in front of those voted in, you're kicking the public in the face. So where are you guys at? When are y'all going to start showing up to the CDH building and start asking these questions? I'm not saying that you have to agree with me on whether or not people should wear masks. I'm saying that using all this force and violating people's rights is wrong, and it's counter to making any progress in the areas of having people have more say in their lives and a higher standard of living. Come on, let's get with the program, man. Quit worrying about how Mario's talking. Quit worrying about how Mario's talking, and start listening to what Mario's saying. All right? Quit listening to how I'm saying it and start listening to what I'm saying. You guys need to get out of your emotions, man. I'm telling you. You're looking like the sissies out here not thinking for yourself and pushing the line onto other people, violating other people's rights. It's looking real weak. It's looking really it's looking really like this. Get with the program. Other people have a right to use their property and their bodies however they see fit. The world is a dangerous place. It's never going to be free of danger. And there's always an accepted degree of risk that one assumes when they step out into the world. Yes, we have to reduce that as much as possible, but it's here before us. Death was here before us. Pain was here before us. Suffering was here before us. And it's going to be here after us. So let's just learn to deal with it and not make it worse. How's that sound? All right. Hey, I'm looking for other places to start posting my videos because you know what, move thyself. And I like a party. I don't like this being having me toned down. I'm toned down right now. Probably nobody's gonna even want to watch this because I'm so bored. But I wanted to make sure I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. Because it's and I wanted to defend myself a little bit, you know, and I wanted to speak on some HOvid activity. So I think I accomplished that. Until the next episode, love thyself, love thy haters, love thy creator. Peace out.